Hello, town of Macaque. This is Hugh Berger, and you're listening to Radio Skyline, your place to keep pace with everything in town and beyond. With me today is my co-host Myra. Hello, Myra. And we have got a lot of odds and ends to cover today. First up, our local high school voted for their mascot. The Macaque Murderers was winning by a landslide until the school board stepped in at the last minute and cast their vote. Our school will now be the Macaque Manatees. I heard some of the kids already made posters for the murderers, but the school board sent out flyers as the Manatees, so the war was lost before it even began. You know what's crazy? Is by the kids' votes, the Macaque Monkeys were the runner-up. That's too obvious. Besides, a macaque monkey is a cute little thing. Can you imagine being tackled by a sea cow? Our school might not be murderers, but we're gonna kill at football. Gonna just royally suck dicks at track, though. Nobody cares about track, Hugh. God put dinosaurs in the earth so we could one day turn their bones into petroleum and overcome the malignancy that is running and walking. Well, track is track and field, you know, it's also got shot put and javelin throwing. Throwing shot is for people who can't afford real cannons. These people lose wars, Hugh. You know, I would've liked to see what the Macaque Murderer mascot would've looked like. Like maybe an old-timey burglar with a knife. You wanted a burglar? A burglar is a totally different crime, Hugh. Yeah, but I mean, like, he becomes a murderer when the burglary goes wrong and he, like, stabs the house owner. Well, that might be manslaughter, depending on how his lawyer can swing it. Well, you know, like, you assume that the jury goes for murderer, or otherwise he's not a good mascot. No, I think I would have hired my cousin Horatio. He did 20 years over some dispute involving a lawn sprinkler and a can of whipped cream. You have a cousin who murdered somebody? Yeah, absolutely stone dead murdered a guy. Well, how's he look? Now? Kind of bald, has a beard, a little paunchy, has a difficult time getting hired to work at the Wiggly Piglet. Well, I mean, before he was incarcerated, you know, when he did the murder, was he, like, in shape? I don't know. He wore a lot of polo shirts. I think he was kind of chubby then, too. Huh. I guess murderers look like a normal guy, so maybe it's kind of a lame mascot after all. God, Horatio was just a character. He could run in heels as majestically as a least weasel in fresh winter's snow. Is the least weasel wearing heels in the snow? Never mind. That mental image to enjoy, we now turn to a brand new member of our team, Peyton Turkanislakastov with traffic. Yes? Hello? Yes. So Peyton, what's the traffic like in the town of Macaque today?
Well, you are too cheap to spring for the helicopter, yes. So your eye in the sky is when I climb a tall hill and look down on everyone with binoculars, yes.
Yeah, okay, but that's enough to see most of the traffic in town, right? So how's traffic look?
Well, just now, this guy in a red truck cut off this guy in a lime green Volvo, yes. And I think the guy in the lime green deserved it, because who paints their car such an ugly color? Yes. Also, there's this guy driving down the highway right now with 2 spare tires, and that is super suspicious. Who has 2 spare tires? Yes. And who drives the spares on the highway? This person has a story, and it is a bloody one, I assume.
Okay, that's great, but, like, how does traffic look, Peyton? Is traffic okay?
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. It looks like traffic. Normal traffic. Cars go. Beep, beep.
I mean, is it, like, congested? Are there any accidents on the road?
I mean, sometimes, yes. But the last one got cleaned up like an hour ago, so right now the big deal is this guy with the spare tires. Where's he going? Probably to do crimes.
Alright, thanks. That's the traffic. Relatively clear, but with an overhanging cloud of impending evil. And now we've got to take a break for a word from our sponsors, but hang tight, because when we come back, we'll be discussing Macaque's Modern Art Festival, going on all weekend downtown.
Do you love a good sandwich, but also want to be able to stand up to Craig down at the gas station? Well, with Pig and Tiger Deli and Boxing, we can teach you to punch good and to punch you up a good tuna melt at the same time. Open all day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with classes available at noon and in the evenings. We can teach you how to stand your toes good, and how to not breathe with your mouth open like a dumb idiot. Lots of other places like karate want to teach you about honor and feeling good about giving your money to a man who wears a bathrobe, but Pig and Tiger will never make you wear a bathrobe outside your own home. We will seriously hit you in the head and show you how to hit other people until they aren't awake no more. Then you can have a sandwich. We make 10 different kinds of sandwiches. We don't do vegetarian sandwiches, I don't get that. Pig and Tiger, located downtown in the district that would permit zoning for this. You'll know the place.
Pig and Tiger, when you're hungry for conflict and also for ham. Our next guest is Mark Donovan, an artist participating in the town of Macaque's Modern Art Festival. I'm very glad to be here, Hugh.
Modern art.
It's all just performance pieces, isn't it?
First of all, I'm not sure you know what a performance piece is.
It's when you perform a bullcrap story to make your mediocre art seem more thoughtful than it is.
Not entirely correct. And secondly, our modern art festival is truly on the cusp of a new era. We feature some of the most cutting-edge local artists who are thriving in the digital age today.
Well, that sounds really great. You mean like it's all drawn on a computer instead of a canvas?
Exactly, not quite. It's more like we've transferred our most popular pieces to canvas. For example, Disney Fan 69 has provided us with an amazing portrait of Spider-Man clutching the erogenous zones of Elsa from Disney's Frozen.
I'm sorry, what? He's grabbing her boobs, Hugh.
I know what a woman's erogenous zones are.
Well, I would never believe that.
I mean, isn't that illegal? Like a copyright thing?
Oh, no, you misunderstand. You see, if you were on the internet at all, you'd realize that drawing lewd images of Disney characters is potentially fair use. Because it might be commentative.
What might be commentative about Spider-Man groping Elsa? They're not even from the same properties.
Well, I suppose you could say it comments implicitly on the sexual sterility of the brand.
How does it comment that?
Well, have you ever seen two Disney characters have sex?
Little Mermaid.
They didn't bang in Little Mermaid.
No, wasn't that what Kiss the Girl was all about? They sing the song and then they have sex.
No, they didn't even like kiss.
Well, I could swear. I can imagine them doing it. And you know, Disney's all about imagination. You can't tell me that's not valid.
I mean, I feel like you could comment on the sterility of anything by drawing porn of it if you want to take that as a commentary. I mean, you know, like I never saw an episode of Seinfeld where like Seinfeld has sex with a watermelon.
Exactly. Right? So this goes the line of thinking with many artists online. Seinfeld making love to a watermelon would be a valid, transformative piece reminding us that at some point in life, Seinfeld must have been lonely, just like the rest of us.
And then he has sex with the watermelon.
Yes. Well, I mean, not necessarily with a watermelon. It just gets you thinking. You know, that's what matters. That's what makes it...
So are all the art pieces gonna be like this?
Some of them are just saucy portraits of popular cartoon characters, but they do have their clothes on. Usually there's a particular exaggerated interest in the clothing. Toe socks are a favorite. We call those commissioned pieces.
So it's all just cartoons and TV stuff.
It's almost exclusively cartoons, yes. But there are some video games as well. If you'd really like to think about the sexuality of Link from Nintendo Zelda
It's all just
series,
derivative smut. I mean, are there any modern artists making anything original that isn't pornography?
Hugh, you shouldn't be such a downer. I love the Seinfeld watermelon idea. I may not know art, but I know I'd love to make an entire series of Seinfeld characters with watermelons. I think I could pull that off.
Hugh, if it sets your mind at ease, I can assure you that there are definitely artists making a shocking amount of highly talented original works.
Okay, well, thank gosh for that, I guess. I mean, what do they bring to the festival?
Unfortunately, I couldn't really track any of those people down. In the first place, they don't show up under any popular tags, so they never appear in anyone's online feeds. And second, I don't know what to type in the search bar to find them.
Well, how do you know they exist?
Sometimes you meet someone who knows a guy who posted a few stunning pieces before getting discouraged and swallowing the front end of a shotgun. Metaphorically speaking, of course, on the internet we call you dead if you stop posting garbage for 2 weeks or more. Aside from that, the platforms that host this content insist that they're not just vapid wastelands of derivative content, and that advertisers should continue investing in them. And that means that somewhere, someone deep in the hidden nooks and crannies of these websites must be making exciting things that none of us have already heard of.
Alright, but just to be clear though, none of these people are gonna be at the festival.
Personally, I think I like modern art more than I like old modern art. At least I recognize the stuff in the new era.
I mean, that's because it's the most popular pop culture, but with its pants off.
I remember I once saw modern art, but it was just driftwood tied to a canvas, and everyone was bragging about how 3D it was. Like that was a huge accomplishment for a piece of driftwood.
You have to admit, Hugh, it's a subjective field. And when the purse holders want Jesus, we get the Sistine Chapel. And when they want Super Mario laying in passion with Kermit the Frog, we get enough of such art to fill the entire volume of the Sistine Chapel.
What I don't understand, though, why have a festival celebrating these artists if it's all they do? I mean, it's all the same. Shouldn't we be trying to promote some kind of standard?
Oh yes, no, I believe we absolutely should.
Good. So, you know...
But For the sake of making money, I'm not sure how to sell tickets to see people no one has heard of.
All right,
so...
I would love to argue more about this, but we've got to go to a commercial. Yo, this is Slick Sam. You might remember me from that awful tattoo I stenciled on your back last week. Some regrets are forever. Like, for example, if you missed this week's Modern Art Festival, I'm gonna be down there doing more tattoos and drawing Super Mario making out with that green duck he rides on. I hear that's a big thing right now, and I wanna make money. I'll draw anything you ask. Zelda saving the princess with his dick, Metroid in her underwear, that thing where the guy wears a crown and becomes a sexy girl. I think I've seen that somewhere on the internet. But let's be honest, I'll probably be sick of drawing in about a half hour. So if you come by sometime after that, I'll sell you my art supplies and pretty much anything that isn't nailed down. I'll even sell you the clothes off my back. And then, if you're an artist, you can pay me to be a nude model. You can use the art supplies you just bought from me. This is so brilliant, I can't believe no one else has done it. So come on down to the Modern Art Festival. I'll be the naked guy running around with a handful of unmarked bills. Don't miss it. That was Slick Sam. Bless that man, he is a national treasure. I think my mind's made up. I'm definitely going to this thing. Do you think Sam's gonna be the only one with original artwork, just because he doesn't know who the characters are? I don't know, and I don't really care, but I hope he's not the only one with his balls hanging out. If they allow alcohol, it's gonna be a party. I think they do. They've definitely got beer sponsors. Well, then I am gonna have an amazing weekend. Well, amen to that. And on that note, it looks like this is the end of our show. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Shoot for the skies. Personally, I think I like modern art more than I like old modern art.